I'm quite happy. I can sit down for a good hour or so and just think back and go, oh, that was good.
When was the last time you reminisced?
Well, my mum and dad have been round, haven't they? So, been reminiscing a lot.
Yeah.
What were you thinking about?
We were just chatting about Tic Tacs.
One of the great memories, yeah. The happy memories.
No, because you see, here's the thing. You're saying how that woman changed when she had her head caved in.
He never said that.
What did you? Well, the brain accident.
Yeah, brain accident. Yeah.
The Tic Tacs. Now, I used to love them.
Yeah.
When I was younger.
Yeah.
My dad got a load of them.
What, this year?
No, years ago. Years ago, when I loved them. I said, I love Tic Tacs, me.
Yeah.
He met one of his mates.
You didn't nick them from the sweet shop?
No,
that's what
he knew some mate who could get his hand on a load.
Right.
And he must have got about 30 crates of Tic Tacs.
30 crates of Tic Tacs?
Honestly, with like about 24 on each crate. We got them, stuck them in a cupboard under the, just in the kitchen in the corner.
Yeah.
Now, I worked my way through about 6 crates. I was quite happy.
In how long?
I don't know, in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks or something.
Right.
And then after that, I'm getting sick of these.
Right.
Yeah. You were minty fresh, but you were sick
lovely
of them.
fresh breath.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I haven't got that much more to tell you about it. It's just...
Sorry, whoa. Bear in mind, this was something he was recently reminiscing with his parents about. They were sat round, and we've already learned up to an hour could go by reminiscing. Sat round for an hour, talking about the great
I've already
Tic
run
Tac
out of
saga.
responses. I've got nothing to say about that.
Opinion.
I mean, I was nearly going to say, what do you do with the empty little flicky Tic Tac boxes?
But then you realise that that's utterly dull and boring.
Well, I was struggling. I don't know what this anecdote is, other than a bloke. Other than you said your dad, I like Tic Tacs, me. He went, all right, I talked to Albert. Albert, you got Tic Tacs? I've got 30 crates, if that'll do, yeah? Yeah, bring him round. Put him under cupboard. He's got through 12 crates. What's his breath like? Fucking lovely, but he's been sick all over the cunting place. Oh, do you want some more? No, of course we fucking don't. You'll talk about that in a few years' time. Of course we will, for about a fucking hour. No. And then we bring it up on an audio book.
But I think that's how we got onto it, because even though I tried to get rid of a load, I used to give them to mates, take them to school, say, have some Tic Tacs. You can have them for free. We used a load in the cat litter tray.
No, you didn't.
We did. It was just ways of getting rid of them.
Jesus Christ.
Sort of freshy smell, isn't it?
That's
it's the same
amazing.
sort of condensity in that, isn't it?
Condensity, it is the same condensity.
Similar condensity.
Yeah, so I got rid of them like that. And then the weird thing was, even though I'd got shut of them all, you'd be backing up and you'd always hear one ting its way up the tube.
It's tinging its way up the tube. It's tinging its way up the tube. It's tinging its way up the tube. Ding tong, ping pong. It's tinging its way up the tube.
That sounds like something from Willy Wonka.
Oh God!
No, it's just I'm just demonstrating that because that's how many of them there were around the house. You'd drop them, they'd go in every corner and that, like Pac-Man or something. They'd be everywhere. You'd be backing up, tinging it up.
Sheila's getting married. Hannah gets confetti. Don't buy any confetti. Go to cupboard under stairs.
So yeah, that's a little memory there, isn't it?
It is a little memory.
Now it's a really little memory.
The strange Tic Tac house in Salford, where everything is made of Tic Tacs.
Wow, that must have been a hell of a time you had with your parents there. The old Tic Tac reminiscence.
No, but it's better. You see, you're saying, oh, what a boring story that is. But when my mum and dad
re-gravelled the drive. Yeah, smell it. Suck the drive if you want.
No, but it's different. When my mum and dad are there and they can remember that and they're going, oh yeah, the Tic Tac incidents and stuff.
What's known as the Tic Tac incident?
The Tic Tac incident.
Let us never speak of the Tic Tac incident.
Yeah, I just imagine the clock ticking. There, it's Christmas Day. I go, what are you smiling at? Oh, remember it used to ting up the tube.
You should think about selling this to Hollywood.
Listen, what do you remember then?
What do I remember? That's an amazing thing to say.
That's a difficult question to answer.
Yeah, I don't. Nothing at all.
Why, out of interest though, and this will sound naive, why don't we remember the very early moments of our lives? Why is it? Is it because it would be too harrowing to remember the point at which we sort of born? Because I don't really remember anything from those first few years. Why is it? Is it just because the brain's not fully formed at that moment?
I don't know.
The memory's not sufficiently developed?
I honestly,
it's got to be trauma, hasn't it? It's the things. Again, we were talking about me being younger, and the youngest I could remember back to was 1978.
How old were you then?
When
were you born?
72.
What? You couldn't remember earlier than 6? You can remember back to about 2 or 3, most people. What?
No way. No way. My mum and dad don't even remember me then. Because you're not doing anything. This is what I'm saying.
My mum and dad don't even remember me then. That's amazing.
Because they pinpoint
They remember
things.
all the Tic Tacs they've ever eaten.
Yeah. Do you remember when Karl was 6? Of course I do. 5? Yeah. 4? Yeah. 3? No. 2? No.
Because you're not doing anything, are you?
My mum and dad don't even remember me then.
And it's weird.
I remember must have been about 2 sitting on a potty surrounded by Lego. I remember that. Very strong image I have of that.
No, I don't remember that.
No, you don't remember that, were you?
You weren't there, were you? What do you mean? What, you don't remember Steve sitting on a potty surrounded by Lego?
No, I mean, I can't remember having a potty. I remember having one of them.
I'm not suggesting you have the same memory.
You used to go in a fucking litter tray. Now I know why, to eat a Tic Tac while you're having a shit.
But, okay, so what is your very first memory?
The one that cropped up the other day was having my eyes sort of glued together by
gangsters. Where's the fucking Tic Tacs?
Karl, any more? Oh, tell that story that you were telling me about your dad when he was driving.
Well, it's just that you were talking about. Well, I mentioned Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
And the Forrest Gump types. When my dad was when he was a taxi driver.
Yeah.
You used to have to sort of do your bit for the local area.
Oh God.
By taking the Forrest Gump people to Blackpool.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called now, the Forrest Gump people? Is that what the organisations that support them asked for them to be referred to?
A minibus with Life is a Box of Chocolates.com.
Well, Forrest Gump types.
It must be, so you work with these people?
It was,
the people with learning difficulties.
And they used to get 5.
Coming home must have been a busman's holiday.
So he got 5 of them in the cab.
Yeah.
And he had to go to Blackpool, and 4 of them were really good, you know, behaving themselves, didn't mess about, weren't fighting and stuff, but there was one who was just causing loads of trouble and they couldn't control him.
Oh,
and what you've got to be able to do with people like that, you don't want them to get stressed out because it's not good for them. It stresses them out, and you could end up with a bit
Thanks, Dr. Karl.
you could end up with a bit of a riot on your hands. So he thought, I'll nip this one in the bud right now, and he pulled up just on the outskirts of Blackpool, and he took the one out that was causing problems and put it in a wheelie bin.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologise.
He did what?
Oh,
He did it for the good of the others. He put it in a wheelie bin. He was having a good time. He thought it was one of the rides.
Can you stop saying it?
Him.
Yeah.
He was having a good time, and once he calmed down, my dad went back and picked him up, and he was fine. He had a good
What,
day.
he left him in there the whole time the others were in Blackpool?
No, he left him there, not the whole day, probably about an hour and a half.
In a wheelie bin?
In a wheelie bin.
Why couldn't he get out?
Because, like, his arms were trapped on the thing. One of those
What, he tied him up?
No, do you know, like, because he was a big fella, and, like, he managed to get him in so his arms were down the side like that, so he was a bit trapped.
Wasn't he screaming and crying and stuff?
He was making a bit of noise, but do you know what I mean?
What, you feel served him right?
Well, but anyway, I didn't really want to talk about it. He just brought it up because of Forrest Gump.
Did his, family know about this? Is this the first time they'd have heard about this?
He didn't get asked to do it again. Because he had another problem similar to it where he had a little minibus, and it was his job to take a load of old women to the bingo hall, and it was miles away. And he took him there. There was no problem. About 10 old women in a minibus.
One of them was causing trouble. So he pulled over it.
No, right, so he took him there, everything's fine, he dropped him off, they had a lovely night, right, they had a lovely night, won a bit of cash, coming back, it's a bit of a late night, and they all started moaning at him, going, I want to be dropped off here, take me there, I want to be dropped off first, I've got to get up early, blah blah, you know, my husband's expecting me, I'm already late, take me here first, take me there, and he just pulled up, in the middle of nowhere, said, get out. And he made them get out, and they all called for taxis. They charged that company who was meant to be taking him home in the minibus, and he got the sack. But a similar sort of story. You can't be dealing with it when people don't sort of just calm down and, like, solve the situation.
Yeah.
They're just all like, I want to be dropped off first, take me here first, take me.
Yeah, so he acts like a madman. Good.
Oh, that's
Alright,
great.
we've got to crack on, haven't we, really? We got
Says so much. Yeah.
Yes, Nick Drake, a song for the ladies this week from the album Brighter Later, At the Time of a City Clock. That's
Goodbye.
it. Yeah,
Goodbye.
see you next time.
Bye.
my mum and dad, right, they moved to this little house, right, and they had loads of furniture that they've collected over the years without chucking out, and they've moved to this small house, so they just had too much furniture, right? And they had this double bed, and that was for, like, you know, when friends come round and that, they can stay there. But the problem was he wanted to sort of put these wardrobes in the bedroom, right?
Right.
That went on either side of the bed.
Sort of wrapped around
because,
the bed.
yeah, but because the room was so small, he thought, I can sort that out.
Yeah.
Right? And he sawed the bed.
He sawed the bed?
He sawed the whole thing, so you've got, like, your mattress, your bed, and everything.
What, he just sliced some off?
Like a big sandwich, just cut a bit off the edge.
Cut the crust off.
How much is that, would you say?
About 8 inches, 6
About
inches.
8 inches.
But hold on, but that
he
won't
cut
work. Because it'll all fall out the side, and then what happened to the springs and all the supports and stuff? It'll just collapse.
It didn't all come out and that. I mean, it's not the comfiest bed. but the weird thing is, he did it, and even though it's only like that 8 inches or whatever, it totally ruined it. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, of course it would.
no, but what do you think I mean? I don't mean it ruined it as in, it looks a mess.
No, it would have been uncomfortable.
Not even that, though. Just the fact it's that little bit shorter. It's like, God, for 2 people, this is hard work now. This is like, you haven't got enough room, even though it's only 8 inches.
Why did he build the wardrobes first, without measuring, putting the...
I think he did all that, and then thought, oh, it'll easily fit in there, and it didn't, so he had to sort of saw a bit off the bed. But it's just weird how only 8 inches...
Did he use one of those electric saws?
Yeah.
And there
That's
was just,
amazing.
presumably there was just kind of,
What
sort of
did it-
material and wood just flying everywhere.
What did he do with the legs? Did he have to move the legs in a bit?
He moved the legs. Looking at it, right, once it's got, like, the quilt on it and everything, you wouldn't know. I was like,
Sure.
yeah, that's alright, done a good job.
Yeah.
And I went to bed at night, he's like, you know, sleep well. Got up in the morning after having about 45 minutes sleep and said, something not right with that.
Yeah.
And he
You
goes, "What do
really are
mean?"
your father's son, aren't you?
I said,
That's not
I said,
right
it's
with
not
that.
right. And he said, oh, well, I said, what have you done? It doesn't seem the same. And he said, oh, I had to shorten it, sort of thing, you know, to fit in the gap. I said, well, I can't sleep in it. I said, and there was a big kerfuffle. My mum was saying, look, you have our bed then, and we'll sleep in that one. And my dad was like, sod that,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ruined.
you know.
Some idiot cut it.
So, there was a big debate going on about where we should sleep, and I was saying, look, you know, I only come and see you, like, every couple of, you know, probably once every 6 months.
I'm not being funny, but next time we go home, can I film it? Just for, do you know what I mean, Channel 4 or something?
Well, you know, I mean, the Osbournes is not on at the moment. The
Yeah, no.
Pilkingtons.
Be-
That would be extraordinary.
oh, can we film it?
That's brilliant.
Is anyone from Channel 5 listening to this show?
Or Bravo.
Yeah.
The Pilkingtons.
Weird, though. Weird.
Play a record?
What do you want to play? Do you want to play, do you fancy playing something of yours?
What, have we got
I
anything?
don't know, something that was sent in to you, maybe?
Oh yeah, no, I'll tell you, yeah, I'd like to play this. Yeah, Bronze Age Fox. Band from Bristol, my neck of the woods.
Always
play
working,
the tune, play
Carl,
the tune.
always working. He's
Play the
always
tune.
working. He's on the ball, he's on the ball. He's on the Bobby ball. Anne Robinson, put in the Welsh into room 101.
What, 'cause she didn't like him and that?
Yeah, she just said, well, they're going in the, you know.
She said it slightly more eloquently than that.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
I can the people or the place?
I don't know.
I think it was the place and therefore the people.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
No, well, you know, my mum and dad have sort of, moved from Manchester, they reside now in Wales.
Oh, yeah.
And it is,
Look at his face, turning his nose up.
no, but it is pretty depressing. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them places that, it's like you go back in time and that when you go there. I mean, maybe the major cities there, maybe Cardiff is alright.
What, even coming from Manchester, it's like going back in time?
It's just, it's like one of them places that it feels like every day is Sunday. Do you know what I mean? It's just depressing and grey and slate
Lots of
everywhere.
vickers walking around going, I'm late.
Well, yeah, it is the sort of attitude they have, right? This is true, because my mum and dad live there and that, right? And they love it, it's alright, it's an healthy place to go when you get older and that. But, this is why they don't move on in Wales.
Well, I'd just like to make another
No.
sorry to any Welsh people listening. We're not saying you don't move on. Karl is.
No, but
Sorry about the little Chinese shoes
the
again
thing
as well.
is, it's good that, in a way, that they do that, and they don't want to be, like, you know, rushing about everywhere, because the way London isn't that great either, is it? Because it's totally opposite here, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not having a go. It is a bit dull. I think even people who live there will agree with me,
Okay.
right? But, like, one of the shops that my mum and dad use, right, it's only a little sort of villagey type shop, they can't be bothered staying open for hours and hours, right? Because there's not enough people use the shop.
Yeah.
So what you do is, they get used to what you buy, and
They leave it out.
They put it in a phone box outside.
They put it in a phone box?
Yeah.
So it doesn't get wet.
So my dad's loving that.
Well,
Once he
yeah.
found that out, it was like, brilliant.
But how is that a bad thing? That's brilliant.
Well, it's not for other people, it is for my dad, because he's picking up all sorts of stuff.
Oh
Chickens.
no, he's not!
Oh, yeah.
He's not nicking other people's shopping.
Well, it's not like nicking, is it, because it's not theirs yet.
Oh! And you've stitched him up on radio.
Well, of course, because they're going to think, who is there in town with a Manc accent? Who hangs around a lot,
Who keeps making phone calls. And is getting fatter.
Yeah.
That's
You've stitched him
I
right
love
up
that.
there,
I
Karl.
love that your dad was excited when he found out.
I can't believe that he's moved there. He's retired to this little village where it's based on trust and community, and he is abusing it. He's using his scally Manc ways.
Bloody hell, Lakers. There's no bread again.
There's old women
Was
going
empty.
hungry.
Yeah.
Their cats aren't getting fed, and your father is just... I can't... that's obscene. That's obscene.
Oh, I think it's Die Thief. That fella from Manchester.
I don't even think they've got Sky there yet, have they? They can't listen, they won't know what's...
I think you stitched him right up. I hope you have, actually. I hope he goes down for it. I hope he's hounded out of the community like Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
They should get burning torches, go up to the
Set fire
mansion.
to his cottage.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right, well...
He's out of the choir.
Yeah.
Tell us about this woman.
Well, it was just because you were saying about the... You know, our living...
We are broadcasting now, aren't we? This is actually going out, this is live. This isn't us sort of like...
Yeah, but you were just talking about how I lived in an odd village.
Yeah.
With kids with big heads and all that, right? And what I wanted to do...
What is that again? There's two kids with big heads.
Yeah, they just had sort of big heads and webbed hands and that. They went to my school. And when I spoke to my dad the other day, because I'm going to see my mum and dad tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
So I said, have we got any school photographs with the big-headed kids in? And he said, no, nobody bought those sort of school photos because they were in it, so it was always a bit ruined. But I said, well, no. He said sales were, you know, because he obviously talked to other dads and stuff like that. And he just said, oh, no one bought them. But anyway, so...
I would love them!
Yeah.
That's why I'd buy them.
Yeah, but I wouldn't stand out, would I? If it's on the mantelpiece.
Yeah,
well, but anyway, so I was talking about, you know...
When you say they had big heads, what do you mean? Do they look like someone from Doctor Who?
They were just quite big.
But they weren't related?
No.
So why did two blokes with big heads and webbed feet?
I lived in a weird area. There was a chemical plant close by.
I can't believe you've never told us that before. That explains a lot. Not just the freaks in your neighbourhood, but...
No, there was loads of weird stuff going on. There was this, like I said, there was this woman who, used to, like, live in one of the council flats, right? And, she had a three-wheeled, sort of big... What do you call it?
Three-wheeled son. He was the weirdest bloke we ever knew.
Well, they call it like a big tricycle, but for an adult rather than one for a kid. It was a big one.
It wasn't a motorbike, though, it was a...
No, it was a push bike thing.
Yeah.
And she used to, sort of ride down the road with a fella sat in the basket on the back with his, like, legs dangling over, and they'd be going to, like the pub and what have you.
Was it a different fella each time, or the same one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
little sort of bald-headed fella.
So it was in collection for, like, organs and things. Bring out your ill. And then people just throw Grandad just in the back and go, right, we're getting £4 for Grandad.
But she used to
Got a lovely pair of testicles on him. They're very low, but they're
Bring out your dead, or nearly dead.
She used to pick on her husband quite a lot. They'd be in the pub and what have you, and they'd be sat by themselves, but she'd always be sort of, you know, having a go at him, moaning at him, sort of pushing him about and that. So my dad and his mate, right, they went round to their house, knocked on the door, she answered, and he said he was a copper, right? He said, you know, Detective Pilkington, gonna come in and have a word.
So I'm just going to make a note of impersonating a police officer.
Yeah, but for the good, he went in and sort of said, now, I've heard,
superhero.
Yeah.
I've heard, you know, you picking on your husband a lot.
Yeah.
We'll be keeping an eye on you. Do it again, and there'll be trouble. And she backed off after that. She was alright.
And how was the husband? Was he still in the basket though? Was he allowed to ever sort of like ride up front with her, or was he just always?
No, he just she'd sort of stop picking on him in public places and stuff.
That's good.
Just
You can't get done, can you, just for doing that?
I think impersonating a police officer.
Well, you probably did. There was no gain. I think you can't impersonate a police officer full stop, but I think they'd probably be lenient on him that he was. You know, but let's face it. He's not going to be caught because why would anyone know about it? It's not like his son's going to say it on a radio station, is it? And stitch him right up.
Is this something you did generally? Kind of a little bit of, like, vigilante work?
Just whatever, him and his mate, just, you know, if they saw something going on, they go, what can we do? What little scam can we do, or whatever.
Oh, that's fantastic! That is brilliant. Right, okay, coming up, Knob News.
Smashing Pumpkins, Cherub Rock. That, of course, Rick, is available on their greatest hits.
Brilliant.
If you want.
I mean, that's how I rock. So
Yeah.
I know they. I'm very much the shape of a cherub as well.
Well, indeed.
Naked with a couple of
and a rosy big arse.
and a trumpet.
Yeah.
Do they have trumpets?
I don't know. I've just had an email here. Monkey news
Yeah.
from a listener. Monkey spotted holidaying in Cornwall. A chimp was spotted holidaying in Cornwall last week after befriending a family of 3. One onlooker said, "It was incredible. He dressed and behaved exactly like a human being. He even settled the hotel bill at the end of their stay. The only telltale sign was his lack of table manners and the incoherent babble when he opened his mouth." There we are. So,
Well, what do you think of that, Carl?
that's the listeners, Carl. That's Joanne.
Amusing, articulate, accurate. She remembered exactly who's there and everything, setting in the bill. It's all there. So, I mean, even though people think that you're slightly simian, you know, slightly less than human on the evolutionary ladder, they do listen to you. So, I mean, I don't know who's more stupid in the end, you or the listeners.
Well, you may recall, Rick, at the end of last week when Karl had to shoot off early, we issued a little request for listeners just to bombard Karl's email with just pointless emails that really weren't about anything, just to clog up his email for when he returned.
Yeah.
Rick, they sent them all to us.
Brilliant.
I mean, that's the kind of listeners that we've got. We've got reams here on our email of just junk.
I mean, it's like a Marx Brothers plot, isn't it? I mean,
It's
just
ludicrous.
listen.
Listen to what we say.
I got one, about a shaved cat. Well, that's not pointless, I'll be reading that later.
Oh, you're loving it, yeah.
I'm happy.
That'll keep me going for a couple of weeks.
I'll be reading that later.
Did you get to the monkey sanctuary? Because this was the big thing. You were going into Cornwall, you were going to visit the monkey sanctuary. I've never seen someone more excited. You had 2 days put aside for the monkey sanctuary.
I know.
How did it go, Monkey World?
We were on our way, right? I found like a little, in the little cottage that we had, right? It's like a little folder, you know, with little leaflets in saying if you're into mountains, you want to go here.
Yeah.
If you're into castles and that.
the
Little
castle
monkey
world.
on the leaflet, right? So I thought I'll be needing that. Took that out, made sure that's safe and
Yeah.
that, right? We get in the car, getting ready to go. My dad says, "Where is it?" I look on the back. It's in a place called Low or something like that, right? Yeah. So, we're on our way. Can't believe me luck. It's going to be a great day and all that.
Yeah.
And then, start looking at the leaflet, right? And, noticed didn't have any chimps there.
Yeah, it's not Monkey World.
It wasn't a monkey world.
Well, what was it called then?
Something like,
Monkey Town.
yeah, it was just, it had like woolly monkeys in it. That's what
It had what?
Woolly monkeys.
What are woolly monkeys?
Those things, Johnny Vegas off the advert.
Right.
Loads of them. They're dumped now since ITV Digital
Yeah.
went under, so they just put them in a cage.
I don't understand.
They're woolly, they're like, they're sort of like little fluffy, little baboon type things, woolly monkeys. I mean, it's not your chimp. It's not your classic chimpanzee.
So did the car screech to a halt?
It was like,
Yeah!
it was like the mission in Armageddon. I just said abort. We're on the way back.
So how far had you got before you bothered to read the leaflet?
Probably about 5 miles away from where we were.
So what did you do with yourself? You must have been distraught.
we
Well,
went
they
to,
broke down, and then they heard banjo music.
Yeah.
No, we went to a, sort of an amusement place.
Arcade.
I'd love to see you in that. What, with putting those coins in, so it has to roll down, and they go flat, and then an arm pushes
It
them.
was one of them.
Really?
But
I
I'd worked
spent
out it was
years
a
on that
con.
when I was little.
Well, there's a new one. I can't be bothered explaining it, but it's a con. We went to this place, right? My mum and dad had been there before, and they said, "You'll love it. It's brilliant. It's got like a war bit in it."
A war bit, right?
Yeah, like, because they know I'm into tanks and stuff.
Yeah.
So you'll be loving that.
So, sorry, I didn't know you were into tanks.
No.
Well, they're alright.
Brilliant. It's gone from one of his childhood passions to, well, they're alright.
I know, yeah. Go on.
And, but it was awful. I mean, my mum and dad had been there before and he said, no, you'll love it, but it was like a really miserable day.
Sure.
Right? All the rides and that were broke.
Yeah.
Broke!
It just reminds you of Manchester.
My dad just ended up, he was more interested, there was a really fat family there.
Well, presumably he was breaking into the machines, trying to scoop off the cash.
I like the fact that those poor fat family were going, why are those people looking at us?
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to ride one?
No, but
we're not a ride.
They were massive and he just like, look at the state of that. The whole family.
Yeah.
Just, fat.
Bloaters, yeah.
Alright.
No, but because fat, there's no need for it, is there? And he was really like, oh god. And then he wanted to follow them into the House of Mirrors to see what they look like. But my mum had got bored. She went off to buy a little Snow White figure. She couldn't believe her luck. It was only $2.99.
Yeah.
She thought it was going to be really expensive.
Sure,
so she
she's
bought
classy
one of
lady.
them.
Yeah.
So she enjoyed that. And then my dad says, come on, we go in. It's rubbish, this.
What, the fat family wouldn't let him play with them?
So, he just said on the way home, he said, I can safely say that I never want to go there again before I die. So, that was that. And then we went home.
Why would he ever give you that information? In case it was like a secret birthday present.
Yeah.
Oh god, what if they get me a trip to here? Or if he's in a coma and you go, I'll tell you what, bring him out of it.
That fat couple.
yeah.
By his bedside.
Yeah.
But Suzanne said she now realises why I am the way I am after spending like a week with them.
Well,
She
they
said-
told her that they dropped you on your head as a kid, or
No, just like, the way they act and that.
right? Yeah.
They were saying things like, Suzanne, so, why is the moon out at night in the sun in the day? Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh god, there's three of them.
Suzanne, can you tie my shoelaces again?
It was the bit when my dad said, don't waste money on a coffin for him, just put him in a bin bag.
Your father said that about himself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'm glad you mentioned that because
That is great.
that gives me an idea.
Look at Karl. I love that look at Karl. Karl is looking back and forth. You know when you sort of you go to a cat and it looks back and forth between two people. That's very much like Karl's looking at us now.
Or when like a child sees a midget or something in the street. They're just transfixed, aren't they? And the parents go, don't stare.
When we were pushing Ash, yesterday, our producer's in a wheelchair, and we were pushing
He's
through
not
the
a
VC.
midget, we should make
No,
that
he's not a little midget. He's not tall. But we were pushing him through the VC, and this little kid just came up and just stood in front of him and looked at him.
Yeah.
I just laughed.
It was funny. Do you do that? I imagine that you get caught staring at him.
Yeah, do you go up to people with problems and go, Mummy, is that a monster?
Well, I was telling you one about when I used to go with my dad in the taxi.
Oh, yeah,
What
tell us
happened?
this story.
Well,
Your father was a taxi driver?
my dad he had loads of jobs, which they did back then, and they don't do that anymore, do they, people? They don't
Have a
do
variety of
loads
jobs?
stuff.
Sure.
But at one point, he had a black cab, and I used to go with him. Used to get a beer crate and put it in the front of the black cab, and sort of sit just next to the meter. And anyway, we got this call, and like the guy on the end of the radio said, "Oh, you've got your son with you, haven't you?" So he said, "Yeah." So it's just like, we've got to pick up at number 11 Village Lane or whatever. And he said, all right. And it was this woman. It was like a woman version of the Elephant Man.
Wow. The Elephant Woman.
Yeah, it looked like... it was really strange, because I was in the front of the cab, and when you're a kid, if something looks odd, you're a bit scared of it, aren't you?
Yeah.
And my dad was like, look, be alright. And we're driving towards her.
Look, don't worry, son, I've got loads of buns.
And just to
I think
give
I'll
you-
just throw one down the street if you run after
You're
it.
being mean, right?
I am a little bit,
So
yeah.
how old were you, 18?
No, I was about 12 or something like that. 11, 12. And as we got closer to her, it looked like she was holding like a bag of spuds on her shoulder,
For a snack.
Right.
and her head was all a bit mangled and messy and that. And my dad said, whatever you do, don't stare at her face.
Yeah.
And she got in the
Because you
back.
turn into stone.
She got in the back, and I had like the mirror, the driver's mirror thing, and sort of having a look, trying to work out. And he said, don't stare at her face. I couldn't work out where her face was. It was that weird.
Oh, God.
So I'm not sure you're from Manchester. I think you're from, like, Narnia or something.
Yeah, you got frog boys walking around.
The Lord of the Rings.
That got, like, the claws of a lobster and the head of a toad.
Yeah.
And you got women getting in with spuds for heads. I mean, what
This is
sort
not
of, what
Manchester.
is
This
this
is not the place you grew up. This is
Yeah.
mad.
Oh, you can't believe it in London, can you? You come down and you go, look, symmetry. It must be amazing.
It must be a thing to do with upbringing, though, mustn't it? And because again, do you know I've said to you before, years ago when I was a kid and didn't have any worries, good-looking lad, you go through it a bit, have a few more worries, and you look knackered. Now back there's a lot more worries and stuff, so you get a lot more freaks. Whereas in London, everyone's like happy, aren't they?
I love the fact that stress can cause your fingers to fuse and your heads to grow.
No, but if
She must have been really stressed to have a head like
Yeah, yeah. She was
Bag of sluts.
was she an accountant or something?
you know what I mean.
But what did she do? What did she say?
Where
when
was
she
she
got
going,
in?
by the way?
She couldn't speak.
London Zoo, please.
I think she was going to like
To
a
the
pet
fair.
shop. Seriously, honest to God. On my mum's life, she was. Because at the end of the day, that's a good thing with animals. They don't judge you, do they?
She's not
She was an animal. She's a human being.
Not actually an elephant.
No, but she.
You know the Elephant Man was not actually an elephant. You understand that? He's got no elephant genes in him at all.
No.
That was just a cruel name people gave him.
Yeah.
No, it's the name of the disease, isn't it? Elephantitis.
Look, so listen. So this woman, why was she going to a pet shop?
She was going to a pet shop. What, to find a husband?
Is this true?
No, it is true, yeah.
Oh, God.
I'm not taking the mickey, because it must be really bad for
Of
you.
course it is.
Carl, I
we
need to
haven't.
ask.
I'm going on to you today about cutting myself shaving.
Yeah.
I was going on about that. To think that she's probably not alive now, but to think,
But you're going to say this is a worse problem than a little cut shaving, aren't you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I
The
think you're
things
right.
that
Carl,
you worry about.
there's a couple of key questions I need to ask. One, if she couldn't talk,
Yeah.
how did she tell your father where to drive it? Did she have it
Probably
written
got
on a
some
note?
help
Did she
for that
point
home.
with her nose?
Yeah.
Right, this has got silly. Pick your song.
But and also, finally, where did you say she lived again?
It was like in a village, a little small village.
Right.
Just hidden out of the way.
All I'm saying is we could maybe get like some sort of coach, book some coaches, get a coach party up there to have a look at her.
So
Take some photos.
And now
You can make some lemonade.
the offspring of a woman and some spuds. Please enter at your peril. Give me a shiny shilling.
Wow.
Oh, that's terrible. Well, I'm going to play a little bit of Teenage Fan Club song for the lovers here. We left it very late, which has been just rapping with Karl P here, and this is I Need Direction.
I mean, my dad, right? He can like put windows in his house,
Yeah.
do plumbing.
He should. It's dark, isn't it? He's done that first of all. Right.
So he can do what? He's got a multitude of different
Yeah, he
jobs.
can do all sorts. Do you know what I mean? If there's a problem in my flat, I can call him up and say, you know, this isn't working. What should I do? And he'll say like,
Is that not a brain surgeon?
he'll say, oh, fix it.
Sure. So what about Monsters Inc? What did you make of it?
It's alright. It is a kids' film. It sort of annoyed
Is
me.
it?
Okay.
I was having like.
what gave that away? Do you think?
Could I just say also that I do not advocate the use of vices on friends' heads. It's dangerous. Do not squeeze your mate's head in a vice. That's just between me and Karl, and you know. And
Ricky Gervais is an experienced annoyer.
and he probably wouldn't let me do it, to be honest. I have to offer him an awful lot of money. Also, do not smoke. There's no point. And floss. I wish I'd flossed when I was a kid. Also, if you've got a bicycle or anything like that for Christmas, please wear the correct safety gear.
Whoa.
What?
Well, I got a bike as a kid.
Yeah.
Right? And my dad, you know, I think the helmets used to come with them and what have you. I popped it on, went out on my bike, going back into the garden. Dad sees me. He said, "Come here." I said, "What?" He said, "I never want to see you wearing that helmet again. You look ridiculous."
Carl, have we still got Monkey News?
We've got Monkey News coming up.
Now, you must be disappointed because you didn't make it to the Monkey Sanctuary, but you've still managed to scrape together Monkey News on your holiday.
Yeah.
That's
So I
impressive.
found some of that. We've got.
How do you get so many breaks and holidays? Because you went away with Suzanne's parents. You've just been away with your parents. That's a couple of weeks, 10 days. So that's probably about 3 weeks in all. You had that you went to Manchester, you had that day off because your trousers were wet. I mean, and I suppose because you've only got one job, and, I've got a lot more, this is just one of my jobs. But I mean, don't you ever count your blessings, go, God, thank God I can have time off, I don't work too hard, I'm not stressed too much.
No. It's just all to do with, when you do work, do a lot. So I get a lot done.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I'm always doing stuff. I mean, even though, when I was in Cornwall, right, I'm sat there on the grass.
I'd love to just sit on the grass.
You're too busy.
Chill out a bit. I know, yeah, well,
Me dad and Susanna playing crib, right? I'd sort of fallen out with him at
Your
that
dad
point.
and Susanna playing crib.
Why did you fallen out?
Because you do live in the 1940s.
Yeah, why did you fallen out?
Because with crib, have you ever played crib?
Yeah.
Right, you've got to be pretty good at maths.
Sure.
You've got to make your cards add up to 15 and all
Well,
that.
yeah, I was just gonna correct you on you've got to be good at maths. Yeah. What, algebra, quantum physics, what?
No, just adding up.
Adding up to 15. Brilliant.
I mean,
You can almost do it on your fingers.
You could in Cornwall.
Yeah.
But my dad's really good at maths, and like he said, how many have you got? And he always counts his, and it's like 15 2, 15 4, 15 6, 3 for your at, 1 and all that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He adds it up really
One
quick.
for his knob.
Right, so I was like, right, hang on a minute. And he goes, no, what do you mean, hang on? Add it up, what have you got? He said, oh, forget it. I said, this isn't fun if you're going to start getting all arsey with me.
Sure.
So,
Forget it! Yeah. I love it! But I don't know him, but I'm sure he's just winding you up. His victory is you going, forget it, I'm not playing.
throughout my life so far, I've never planned for anything, right? It's just always happened.
Yeah.
The time, you know what I mean, being in plays at school, never planned it, but when I did it, I went down a storm.
It was
that sort of
triumph,
thing.
yeah, we all remember that.
So,
As I remember, you did Little Donkey.
did Little Donkey, yeah.
And then later, someone was filming at the back. Was it your dad's mate?
My dad's mate. Well,
Yeah. And on the camcorder, he listened to it back, watched him playing it. His dad says, just off camera, what does he say?
I don't want to say it because I'm in charge of the show and I'd be irresponsible.
He looks like a right twat.
So,
And so he gets home, listening, watching that, and then here's his dad just off camera go, he looks like a right twat.
yeah, alright, yeah.
What are you worried about? Your dad saying that or the
Can I
word?
just interject, because I'm really worried about this idea of Karl being on MTV, because the problem is that, you know, let's be honest, Rick, I mean, we're getting by the skin of our teeth, aren't we, really? It's only Karl that's keeping this afloat.
Yeah.
And if he gets on MTV and the world sort of gets a sense of him and they understand him, and he won't be ours anymore, we won't be able to control him, it'll be out there, it'll be in the public domain.
That's the thing, that's the thing, that's the terrible thing though, isn't it? It's like, Karl is my pet, but I realise I've got to release him into the wild, sort of, and, you know, because I love him, I know he's got to go free.
Sure.
But I wanna,
It's like Kez. Maybe someone will beat him to death and we won't have to worry.
I'll have you on though, I'll have you on as a guest. Which gets me on to something we've got coming up today.
Oh yeah, he's got a new idea.
Yeah?
Right.
Do you know, like, I've talked about ghosts, and we had that good discussion the other week walking to Piccadilly Circus Station, and I was telling you about ghosts, and you were saying, Karl, don't be an idiot, and all that. Spoke to a woman in the week, done a little interview with
You've
her.
done a little interview?
Done a little interview, 2 minutes or so, with a woman who's got ghosts in her house. So,
I look forward to hearing that later, that sounds brilliant.
coming up later.
Well, I'm going to play a classic tune now. I've just gone straight for it. I've gone for the jugular. This is Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie. Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie on XFM 104.9. I'm Ricky Gervais with me, Steve Merchant, and Karl Pilkington. Karl was also nervous because you had a bit of shock last week, didn't you?
Just a little bit.
His dad tuned in.
To the show?
Yeah. And Karl's never told him that he actually speaks on the show. He just said, I just press the buttons, right? He's kept him from it. You used to do radio before and you never told him, did you? It's because of the little donkey incident.
Yeah.
When he went along to it.
Was that the twat incident?
Yeah. And so he's never told him since, but they've promised not to listen, haven't they?
Well, my mum said to me, don't worry, don't be put off this week, because, you know, I've told him he can't listen, but I hear my dad in the background kinda going, marelnx. So, he might be listening. So that's extra pressure. Plus a camera crew in.
I know. You don't like it, do you?
This is good training for MTV, because then he can watch you on TV. I mean, what's he going to make of that?
Oh.
Yeah.
Does he know you're bald?
Yeah.
You don't keep your hat on when you're with him and say, oh no, I'll just press the buttons.
No, it's just, you know, it's like when I was in any plays, I didn't tell him.
No.
Any sort of parents' evening, I never gave him the note.
Really?
Yeah.
So what did the teachers think? You were just an orphan?
No, just on an off chance. My mate's dad spoke to me dad once, I think, and sort of said, oh, you going to school to see how, you know, your kid's doing? Is that what you're talking about? said there's a parents' evening, so he went.
Said what kid?
He went to one, and that's when Mrs. Matthews said I'd never be a high flyer.
How wrong was she? Yeah. I think we should call Mrs. Matthews and make her eat her words.
Well.
She'd turn on to MTV when, I don't know, like their slamming session.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go, that's young Pilkington. He's bald, but it's definitely him.
I recognise that woolly hat.
yeah.
Nelly, Ride With Me. That's featuring City Spud. I don't know if you're aware of that, but there we are. Good, nice summer tune.
Carl, tell Steve what you just told me when Steve was in the toilet then.
Right, you know, I'd just been away with my mum and dad and that. And one of the things I always like doing is having a good chat with my dad about stuff he got up to when he was a kid and that.
Yeah.
Right, 'cause he got up to loads of stuff, and every time I see him, he tells me something, and I think, it's like, why are you just telling me that now? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I mean, to me, he's kind of like Ronnie Biggs or someone. He's just the most extraordinary kind of.
Well, this happened, right?
character.
I can't remember. There was a delay yesterday. There was problems on the Paddington line,
Yeah.
and he was saying, "Oh, trains aren't what they used to be."
Sure.
He said, I was looking.
They used to be horses, didn't they?
Well, he was looking in the booklet, and it was saying, "Oh, you can have your bags collected if you want, but it costs you £5."
Yeah.
So that's outrageous.
Sure, of course.
Right, so he said that's the problem with this country. We've got good with computers and that, but when it comes to, like, getting service, it's gone out the window.
Yeah.
Right? So he said, when I worked on the trains, and he was going on like this, that and the other. So I said, oh, I didn't know you worked on the trains. He said, yeah, when I was 18, right, it was his job to get the coal, right, and chuck it in the engine.
Uh-huh.
Right? And one day he's in Grand Central Station in Manchester, which is now the GMX Centre.
Right.
Right? And that was like the main station. And he was in there. The fella who should have been sort of driving the train, right? He said, oh, I'm just nipping to the pub.
Sure.
So you just stay here, keep the engine topped up and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah.
For a quick getaway.
Yeah.
Right? So the fella goes in the pub, and my dad's in there, putting the coal on. He did his bacon and eggs on a little shovel.
Yeah, yeah.
And anyway, fella comes up. He says, right, can you move the train forward now?
Oh, blimey.
So he was like, oh. So he didn't want to say, oh, the fella's in the pub, because he'd know we'd say, oh, what's he doing in the pub? He should be working, right? So he said, yeah, no problem, I'll sort it out. Right, so he puts it into gear, or whatever you do on them trains.
Sure,
right?
puts it into first, yeah.
Starts going forward. Now, people who don't know about trains, something that I learnt, is if you're carrying a load of coal or whatever on the back of it, they don't have brakes on each carriage, right? It's only the engine that has brakes on it.
Uh-huh.
So when you pull the brakes on the engine, the whole weight of what it's pulling is pushing you forward.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't realise this though, because he's just used to cooking bacon and eggs and chucking coal.
Of course, yeah. So you've got to slam the brakes on sooner than you would normally.
Yeah.
Well, you have to anticipate it, I suppose. Yeah.
But he didn't know that, so he's pulling in, he's thinking, right,
Well,
I'll put the brakes on now.
Yeah.
Right? Puts the brakes on, the train just keeps going, he's going, oh god, it's not stopping.
Sure.
It ploughs right through the signal box. Right? Loads of damage.
Pulling the signal, don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Loads of damage done. Apparently, if it was today's money,
Yeah.
it'd be about £3 to £4 million worth of damage. It shut the station off for 4 weeks. But he didn't lose his job. The fella had lost his job, the one who was in the pub.
Yeah.
He said the funny thing was, he said like £4 million worth of damage. He did his ankle, his wrist in. He had 3 weeks off sick and got paid. So it's brilliant. So
I love your family.
It's extraordinary. The Pilkington gene.
weird, isn't it?
I'd like to see a documentary following you and your family. You'd have to get the family involved.
No, this sort of stuff my dad goes on about. They'd never put it on telly.
Placebo. This picture on XFM 104.9. I'm Ricky Gervais, with me Steve Merchant and Karl Pilkington.
Right.
So you've been educated there, haven't you? The Trojan horse.
Yeah.
The Trojan horse. And that's of course where the phrase, beware Greeks bearing gifts, comes from.
Silence again.
Yeah. You ever heard of that one?
Go on. What's that again?
Beware Greeks bearing gifts.
Right.
What do you think that means?
I don't know. I mean, what is that? Is that used worldwide or what? Will they say that in Greece as well, or? Because imagine Christmas Day is rubbish.
No, it doesn't actually mean beware of Greeks bearing gifts. It's more to do with, like, maybe it's too good to be true, or, you know. It's the opposite to don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Well, probably where it came from as well.
Justin from Southend emailed in, he just said, for the Trojans not to have spotted that it was a trick, they must have been the biggest bunch of moronic, ever to have walked the earth. Does Karl have any Trojan in him by any chance?
Cheeky, innit?
Eh?
What?
Never mind. I think that probably proves it.
I thought of another one I like as well. I was saying, you may as well be hung for a sheep as a lamb.
I've never heard, I don't think I've heard that. I have heard, but I don't think I've ever used it in common parlance.
Well, it's like, if you're gonna do something, you know, you might as well go the whole hog, depending on the outcome. Because it's based on reality, that's why I like it. Because, obviously, the poor people used to poach, and if they were caught stealing, you know, a sheep or anything, they would be hung. So, if you're gonna get caught, don't steal a lamb, you know, at least feed your family for a few weeks.
Right, sure.
Kill a sheep.
Yeah.
Actually hung for killing a sheep.
Oh. Your dad would be in trouble, down in Wales, stealing stuff from that, from that phone box.
Well, he has a couple of sayings, right?
Your father?
Yeah, I've never asked him what they mean.
Why would you? Ask Suzanne.
One is, don't try and teach your granny to suck eggs.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means, it's patronising of course I know that. You're talking to someone who knows more about this subject than you.
But how did that happen then? How did that saying come about?
Well, it's not. It's a totally made up thing. It's like, your granny sucks eggs, doesn't she? Because she's older than you, and it's probably a lost art or something.
Alright. And the other one,
Sucks eggs?
Sucks eggs, yeah.
Sucks eggs, sorry, I thought you said something else.
Don't nudge your granny when she's shaving.
What?
Sorry?
Don't nudge your granny while she's shaving.
Don't nudge your... Sorry, say
Well,
that
that's
slower, I can't...
Don't nudge your granny when she's having a shave.
Well, what is that in context? Because I can't work out what the analogy is there, because that might just be you when you were little, you used to run up to your granny while she was shaving or something.
But why is your granny shaving?
Well, no, what context is that said in? Tell me the last time your dad ever said that, and I'll try and work out what it means.
Can't remember. I don't know.
Are you sure these aren't specific to your granny?
Yeah, I was to say, where are you nudging your granny? She was going, get lost, Karl.
She was shaving off her moustache.
Or giving herself a Brazilian.
Oh, God. That's grotesque. Suck an egg. Try and get that instead.
Oh, God. That's made it worse. Karl's granny sucking eggs. Whilst that's... that is
herself a Brazilian. We've no idea. I don't know what that means. Don't nudge your granny while she's shaving. What, Parmesan?
I don't know. Maybe someone knows. You might be right. Maybe.
Well, email in. Tell us.
Yeah.
Cardigans. You're the Storm on XFM 104.9. Well, nearly the end of the show, but we wouldn't let them down, would we? You know what it is now, don't you? Oh, chimpanzee that monkey news.
Right. Now, whilst I was in Cornwall, I wasn't online. I didn't have the internet, so it was like, oh, what am I going to do? And I didn't come back till yesterday. And I thought there's loads going on that I don't know about in the monkey world and stuff. I was hoping to get some from the zoo that I was meant to be going to. Of course, that didn't happen. So I said to my dad, do you know anything about monkeys, or have you got any stories with monkeys?
Brilliant. This is what Trevor McDonald does.
Turned out...
Quarter to 10, he goes, got nothing. Dad, anything happened? You got anything politics? Anything politics, Dad?
This isn't monkey news, I'm just giving you this free.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Turned out one of his mates used to have a chimp.
Right.
What do you mean one of his mates used to have a chimp?
Well, two of his mates. Mind
Oh,
you, one
sorry,
wasn't
yeah,
his mate,
I was thinking it sounds a bit far-fetched living in Manchester, like. But if there was two of them...
He had a chimp, had to thump it in the head.
For doing what? Answering back?
Oh, God!
Tried it on with his wife.
had to stump it in the head for trying it on with his wife. I love it. It's a proper fist fight in a pub in Manchester. Oh.
I'd call him up, but he's one of them who, like, swears all the time.
Right.
Oh.
I mean, it'd be good to get him on and
Let's interview him. Can we not interview him pre-record? We can bleep out the swear, and I'd love to hear his
do
story.
a lot of work, that.
Yeah, well, we're not scared of work,
No,
are
I
we,
mean,
Steve?
I'll
you
do it
know.
myself if you can't be bothered.
Yeah, you know,
I'll
so.
have a word, I'll sort it out.
Yeah, try and sort that out next
we
week.
sort that out, yeah.
Well, don't
yeah.
tell us the rest of the story then. Let's let him say it in his own
No,
words.
but there was another one as well. Some
When you
fella-
say you can get him on, but he swears a lot, you mean the monkey? I'm assuming he's more coherent than your dad's mate.
But there's him, and there's some other fella who he knows who had a funny name. I'll have to find out, because you'll love his name. But he was a drag artist.
Yeah.
And, I think he said my dad went round one day, I don't know why, right? Went around there, knocked on the door, chimpanzeed.
Carl, I don't know what you're doing, mate. I don't know where this place you live. Next door, there's an horse in the front room. There's chimps
Mad,
running round.
Mad. Anyway,
Chimpanzees!
Is that it? Is that the end of the story? There's a chimpanzee in the door and that's the end.
You sure it wasn't a drag artist before he shaved?
no,
Sure it wasn't your gran?
Because I like the really airy ones that decide they can be female impersonators. Yeah, your gran.
You and your father have probably come across this sort of dilemma in the past, and I'd be interested to know what your take is on it. Let me see, this is from Lee Matthews by the look of it. He says, he lives in a suburban area where the local teenagers also live on the same road, and they're running riot. They're smashing wing mirrors off the cars, they're crashing into parked cars on their skateboards, they're just generally making mayhem, you know, night and day. What can he do to stop this going on? The parents of the kids don't seem to give a damn. Anyone who complains to them, they just say, oh, piss off. You know, the police are useless because they never catch them in the actual act of violence, which is what they got to do to apparently convict them. So they don't know who to turn to, really. It's rather like when a little old lady went and got the A-team, you know. At the beginning of the show.
You know, and he was dressed as an elderly Chinaman.
Exactly.
She knew who he was. Colonel Decker didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
You see, it's weird, because now it has got out of hand. Do you know what I mean? Like, years ago when I was growing up on the estate, yeah, you had problems, but not like you have now. Do you know what I mean? You know,
Summers were nice as well, weren't they?
well, it did seem that way, didn't it?
Yeah.
Right, and...
Police are getting shorter and
But
younger.
you yourself kind of admitted in the past that you were something of a tearaway. You didn't do anything
but
like these
never-
kids
I mean,
here,
the thing is, I was scared that if I got caught doing it, my dad would go mad.
Yes.
And I remember smashing a car window by accident and legging it in the lounge and sort of pretending to go asleep on the settee. Right.
Genius.
And I heard a knock at the door. and I
Chloroformed
thought-
himself, just to be unconscious when his dad came home.
And there was a knock on the door, and I thought, oh god, this is a fella who saw me. I was chucking a stone in the air, seeing how high I could throw it.
Of course you were. Did it keep landing on your head? That would explain a lot.
And it came down.
Chucking a stone in the air, love
To
it!
see how far I could throw it.
Brilliant.
So, you know, I wasn't bothering anyone.
Did you
by
invent that game?
that, right?
Did you get the stone for your birthday? Go and play with your stone.
He gave one to Suzanne.
Carl, go and play with your stone.
The thing is, right, and it came down at a funny angle, and
Of course it did.
It ate the back of this car, and the back window is the most expensive because it has that heating thing in it.
Yeah.
In case you got a frosty window.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh god. So I legged it in, got on the settee, went to sleep, knocked at the door.
Genius. It's a brilliant plan. It's a brilliant plan. I couldn't be guilty. I'm asleep.
So
I love the idea.
So the thing is, our lounge used to sort of you could see in from the door, right? So this family who saw me do it saw me asleep on the settee, and my mum said, "Go and get the door," and I sort of went, "Oh," as if I'd been asleep.
Yeah.
I went to the door, like rubbing my eyes, and the fella said, "What did you run off for? I saw you." I was like, "Oh no," and I didn't see my dad. I went out. It was when he was working sort of evenings, so I went out so I didn't have to see my dad. And then the next day I came home from school, and my dad said, 45 quid.
Ooh.
That's all he said.
That's all
And
he
he looked at me.
And then you fell asleep when he went, wake up, wake up. You know what I said? No, 45 quid.
Now the thing,
Carl.
he didn't have to do
45
anything.
pounds, Carl. Now I know you were saving up for a brick, but you can't have it.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? It's like, I knew I did wrong, and I was scared that my dad was going to belt me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, you know, I'll be more careful next time.
But that was clearly good parenting on the part of your father, because these young tykes, clearly they don't have the
what do you do?
the father
I
support.
don't
do
even.
they?
I don't know if
If you were living in that street, very quickly, what would you do? What would your approach be? If you were living in his street.
What if they'd come over and they just vandalised all your pebbles, right, that you'd been saving over the years, and just threw your gravel away? What would you do? If they just...
I'd probably clout one of them.
So you'd use violence?
I think it's the only way sometimes.
Sometimes the only way.
And I don't mean, you know, really bad, but I'd show them that I'm not putting up with this.
Right.
And then the problem is you've got their family coming round and they're probably quite...
Go to sleep. If you hit a kid and the dad comes down, just go to sleep.
Yeah.
Just...
So,
equally, if you're doing a bigger crime, you know, a bank job or a murder...
Remember to take the stocking off your head, because if they wake you up and go, why have you got a stocking on your head? Just go, oh, I had a weird dream. It won't work. What do you mean? If Tony Blair came to you and he went, Karl, listen, I'm having a bit of trouble here. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. I've tried spin. I've tried being tough. I've tried backing down. I've tried getting other countries involved. They don't want to know. What do I do? What do I do? You don't know?
Tricky one.
It's a tricky one, yeah.
I don't worry about it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just get in the bath, put a mattress on top of you. That's it.
Sorry, why are you doing that?
Ooh, slow down.
Why are you doing that?
That's what they say you do, innit? If it kicks off.
If what kicks off?
If there's a war and that, you get in the bath, put a mattress on top.
Right. Did they do that in the Second World War for 6 years?
Was that making bunk beds?
That's what I read somewhere.
Yeah.
Is the bath full of water?
No. That'd be daft.
Okay.
I think they were enamel baths then, though. I think they'd stop a bit of shrapnel. I think the plastic ones you get nowadays would probably melt on you. And the mattress, where your dad has cut it in half, all the foam would come out and the springs would get you in the eye.
Oh, talking about my dad. Steve, you'll love this, right?
Go on.
My dad hates being ripped off, right?
Yes, well, no, I can relate to that, that's important.
Hates coming to London now. He always wants me to go and see them rather than come here, because he just thinks London is like a big rip-off. Last time he came, he got annoyed because I bought him a scone and a cup of tea for like 3 of us, and it was £14, and he just was livid. And then we had an argument about that, and then we went to the Millennium Wheel, and I said, do you fancy going on this? He said, oh, alright. And then he saw the price, and it was something like 20 quid or something, and he said, 20 quid to go up in the air to look at stuff that's on the ground. He said, I might as well stay on the ground.
Brilliant.
Right? Thought, good point.
His logic is impeccable.
So anyway, this is going on. Anyway, he spoke to me the other day. I said, how are things? Are they alright? And that? He said, oh, being ripped off. I said, why? He said he ordered, do you know the place where he got a new bed from because he cut the other one in half? Yeah. Right? He got this bed out of a catalogue. So he sorted out a payment on the phone. He said, look, you're ripping me off a bit here on the interest thing, but well, let's do a deal. We'll sort out a new monthly payment that's different to what it says in the catalogue. And he said, yeah, we'll go along with that. Anyway, so he sorted that out. He was happy. The bed arrived. It's a nice bed. He said, that's great. So anyway, he got the bill for it, and it was the original price.
Oh, I thought it might be the case, yeah.
Right? So he called up and said, I'm not happy with this. He said, we said a deal. And like, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. He said, right, don't send me your catalogues anymore. He said, I'm not buying anything from you. You're a rip-off merchant. Right? So anyway, few weeks go by. Post comes. Only another catalogue in the post.
He's livid.
Right, so he was well annoyed.
Yeah.
So he looked on the back, and it said on it, this catalogue will always be property of, you know, the company that does it. So you can't throw it away. If we request to have it back, we've got the permission to get it back off you. Right? So he thought, right, well, they're out of order. I told them not to send me one, and they have done, and they're saying I can't chuck it away. So he called them up and said, alright, Mr. Pilkington here, bought a bed off you conned me, and that. But, you know, forget that. We've dealt with that. You've sent me a catalogue, I told you not to. It says on the back here that this will always be yours. Yeah? So, in a way, you're using my house as a warehouse. I'll be charging you 26 pence or something a day.
Brilliant.
He said, you already owe me £6.28. Something like that.
Genius.
And, yeah, sorted it out. So again, you know, it's just...
So hang on, but are they going along with this?
I don't know what happened. He said they sounded annoyed and said they'd get back to him, and they haven't. But he said, I'm not bothered. They can take as long as they want because the money just keeps going up.
Yeah. So what sort of profit has he made so far?
Well, when I spoke to him in the week, it was like £6 odd.
Yeah.
I think that was on Tuesday. So he's you know, he's just leaving it. It's like an investment.
Yeah. It's like an antique he's bought.
It's just going up every day, so,
well, keep us posted on that. That's dynamite. One day we need to speak to your father.
Yeah, I think so.
So many questions need to be asked of him.
In fact, I might set to give you a letter to take home.
Yeah.
Dear Mr. Pilkington, your son Karl.
New single from Nick Cave. I think
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Steve?
Yes.
I think, Karl's gonna put most people to shame. We were talking about generosity earlier. Karl is a nice, generous bloke when it really comes to it. He's paying for Father's Day. He's paying for the cottage that he's going away with his dad.
Are you really, Karl?
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's no way of us proving if that's true or not.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, you could be lying.
But why would I do that?
Well, because you want to show off.
I didn't do it on air, you mentioned it. I don't want people to know how generous I am. I just do it, just get on with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like charity work and that.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I'd have thought that you wouldn't have fallen for Father's Day. I'd have thought you'd have known that it was like...
Well, we don't. I mean, to be honest, there's a bit of a coincidence, because I paid for it anyway, and it's happened to fall on Father's Day. Right?
Don't buy a card.
Don't
fall for it. I mean, obviously that and Mother's Day and a plethora of other things were, I mean, literally invented by card companies to make more money.
I know.
Yeah.
That's I mean, my dad always says don't get him a card or anything. Because he hates it, with all these things that I'd like, rip-off times, really, just ripping people off.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit stingy, that.
Well, no, I mean, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right, it's just, because fellas aren't bothered about getting cards anyway, are they? But the other thing that he noticed, helping out the flower companies, the Princess Diana thing, when she...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No. Jesus Christ. God.
So when...
Karl, what do you mean? What do you mean?
That's what he said. He said, "Oh,
I nearly swore then because I was. You surprise me all the time.
No, I'm
but
just.
That is incredible.
Sorry, what? I don't understand. What are you talking about?
All the flowers that were sort of sold that day.
Right. What, for people to leave as a commemoration?
Yeah, they made a mint, didn't they?
Who did?
Flower companies.
Right. So what are you saying?
He was just saying, makes you wonder.
What?
About what?
Whether it was Interflora behind the hit.
Oh.
So it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy by the flower companies.
I would love to see you and your dad just sitting at home watching a bit of Channel 5 when apes go mental, right? With your roast dinner.
When's that on?
And then talk like, well, yeah, well, you know, kill Diana, don't you? The flower company's son. Right, quite right, Dad, you're not wrong. What are you talking about?
No, I'm not, I'm just saying, it's like you were saying about the cards, on Father's Day and that, it's just a bit,
too much of a
weird.
Too much of a coincidence.
I'd be interested to see sort of, like the business graph.
Sure.
On how the companies were doing, then suddenly...
Yeah. Yeah. But then by the same token, Elton John, he had the biggest selling hit record, didn't he, off the back of that?
Mm.
I mean, so, is he incriminated as well?
If you want, I mean...
It's a conspiracy theory you've not kind of analysed terribly closely. You've put it out there, and if people maybe who are investigating want to kind of add that into their inquiries, then they can.
Yeah.
Sure.
But, no, that's all I'm saying. I'm just, because it's always the same thing, innit? Like, I was out shopping the other day, treating Suzanne like I do. I like spending money and that.
Yeah.
I was in W.H. Smith's.
Yeah. Classy. What was it? Was it a big birthday? Was it? Was it her 30th?
No, I was getting a.
Was it 2 biros for the price of 1?
I was getting a card for my dad for Father's Day anyway, because I'm seeing him.
Yeah.
Big Toblerone.
Yeah.
There was a giant
who is it who said Father's Day? They love a Toblerone.
I've never understood Toblerone because the only time I see Toblerone is in airports, right, and minibars. That is what the small Toblerone is for the minibar in a hotel, 3-star upwards, and the big Toblerone.
Well, the big Toblerone is a gift, isn't it? It can only be a gift. You wouldn't buy a big Toblerone for yourself.
Yeah, a duty-free gift. The Toblerone. It's next to Chanel No. 5 Toblerone and a bear.
But it's who specifically would you be buying that Toblerone for?
I don't know.
Someone who's clearly never had it before and would think it was interesting novelty.
Yeah.
Well, this gift's interesting.
I'll tell you what, though, Toblerone is brilliant. I mean, if whoever makes that, if they want to send sort of, some Toblerones, I will eat Toblerone.
Well, yeah. I think very much the same about, I think very much the same about fags. And of course... Just cigarettes. If you've got any boxes of cigarettes that you don't want, duty-free or whatever, send them.
I'd just like to say that, in no way do I endorse Karl's dad's theory that flower companies were behind the death of Diana.
No.
Maybe I could say that on air as well. So these scientists, they're stuck away in the darkness. Let's tell them what they've been missing. What's the highlights, Karl, of the last, Ricky Gervais and Steve Merchant and Karl Pilkington, by the way, XFM 104.9, etc. What have they missed for the last, just do the last few weeks. What have they missed? Remember, they haven't got newspapers, they haven't got telly. What's the, look at him, he's looking at me like I just said that in Arabic. What do you understand? Think what's happened. Think what they haven't got that you know about. What have you seen and heard in the last couple of weeks that they couldn't have?
Well, like on the news and that, what's gone on in the world and that?
Yeah.
Well, or just things you've done personally. I think that'll be of less interest.
Yeah.
Pope's dead.
Okay.
I like it. I imagine that. Imagine if that was them breaking it to them.
Yeah.
Like they're listening and you go, what's happened? The Pope's dead. Well, don't say like, break it to us gently, Karl.
Well, I think that's better than how they do it on the news normally, though, isn't it? They make a big deal out of it, and you panic a bit when it's a breaking news, and you think, oh, there's a war on.
Yeah.
And you go, Pope's dead, and you go, well...
So you've just used that short, sharp tactic.
Yeah.
Like ripping a plaster off quickly.
I just said it softly, no, Pope's dead.
When you know all that coverage of the Pope with like those millions of people that had gathered in Rome and stuff, I was thinking about, you remember we talked about the Queen Mother, and they were queuing up to see the Pope.
Yeah, like 4 hours to
and
get
once
a
again,
glimpse.
I couldn't help but feel if they popped him on some kind of like dessert trolley and just wheeled him past everyone else, they could have got that done in about 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah.
You know, once again, people not thinking, they're not expanding their minds.
So you're
What, like students and rag week with a bed down
Oxford
Oxford
Street. Those
Street?
novelty beds, they're all dressed in kind of cardinals gear.
Yeah.
Just, trundling off and down the, yes.
But it's the way they also said they've now got a new Pope. He's hardly new, is he? Why didn't they learn from the last one?
Sure.
Keep taking on old people.
Yeah.
My dad couldn't even get a gig in B&Q. There you go.
Oh God! So who have we offended? I mean, the thing is, it's like, because soon our offensiveness isn't going to be sort of like we're feeling a bit guilty about offending someone. It's going to be like we're going to be living with Salman Rushdie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The things. I mean, that's pretty. Don't have a go at the Pope.
I'm not having a go at him. It's good that he can carry on working and what have you, but I thought everyone had to retire at like 60 or whatever. Oh, bloody hell. But, whatever, if you can get away with it.
Yeah, why couldn't your dad get a gig in B&Q? I mean, he goes there a lot, doesn't he? He goes there a lot!
That's why. If you're just joining us for this one-off show because you're trapped in a bunker somewhere in the Antarctic, you should know this of Karl's dad. He's a thief. He steals things, and we've openly discussed this before. He steals this from other elderly ladies and elderly people. Perhaps
he's not like Raffles, though. He doesn't go into their house.
He's not a gentleman thief.
No, it's when people let's put this in context. He's not a villain, but sometimes when people leave groceries lying around in a public telephone box.
No, what it was, where they live now, they've retired, right? They've moved. I won't say where they are, but somewhere quiet, right? And it's so quiet.
It's not a witness relocation protection scheme.
But because there's only about 8 people live in this village, it's not worth like the like corner shops.
There's only 8 people living in the village.
It's quiet.
The village of the damned.
So anyway, rather than keep the shop open, you're meant to call up and go, all right, Harry, I need some milk today.
Right.
And they stick it in a phone box outside in the shop, and my dad found that out. So when he's been out, just stop off at the phone box, have a look at what's left lying around.
Yeah. But of the 8, I mean, there's 8 people in the village. My attention would be instantly drawn to the dodgy Manc fella. I mean, do you know what I mean? It seems, in Manchester you can probably get away with this, there's a lot of scum up there, but down in this little village, you got a little Miss Marple type, and a little,
He's
country policeman.
stopped doing it now,
Has he?
Stopped doing it, yeah.
Cleaned up his act.
Yeah.
Good, alright, so the Pope's dead, any other big news?
There was that thing I told you about last week, the foot-long spider eats chicken.
Going to my mum and dad's today.
Oh.
I'll cut to the chase, Rick. They basically, we got about 4 pages where they drive to his mum and dad's.
Oh,
but
Jesus
I'll skip
Christ.
past that because it takes fucking forever. Got there, mum and dad, his mum made him some dinner. The old woman next door, brackets, whose man was a witch, just pop that in brackets. Just pop that in brackets. I think we've discussed that before, actually, the old woman whose mum was a witch.
Whose mum was a witch?
Yeah.
Oh!
The old woman next door has been worrying because she keeps seeing adverts on the telly about changing to digital TV. She's saying she doesn't want wires drilled into her walls because they'll make a mess. Me dad told her that it doesn't matter because it'll probably won't happen until 2012 and she'll be dead by then.
He didn't say that to her, though, did
No,
he?
he did. They've got, you know, she's old. She knows she's going to die. I mean, it's something we've all got in common. And he's right, isn't he? Why is she worrying about it? Maybe that's sorted it out. Put it into perspective for her. You will be dead when this happens. Don't be worrying about it. But everybody worries, don't they? You've got that little sort of hole in your head that you fill with worries. You know, everyone's got to fill that little worry hole with worries, and that's hers.
Worry hole. Everyone's got to fill the
we've
worry hole with
got to assume
worry.
that there's a worry hole.
A worry hole.
Unbelievable.
I love the fact that, you know, doctors in the million years would dig this up and go, humans used to have a worry hole.
Went to bed around midnight. Suzanne and I decided to sleep tops and tails, because it made me get a bit more room. Me dad had cut a bit off the mattress to fit it between two cupboards. It's amazing how much of a difference it makes just sawing off a bit of the mattress. You sort of roll to the edge, but the weight of the blankets keeps you in. This is like something from a Roald Dahl book.
No, it's just, you know, you think anything, you can sort of trim anything, can't you? And it normally works. But with a mattress, I mean, he only took off, I don't know how long that is, but he's sawn off about that much on the mattress and then has stapled it back together again.
Amazing.
And it just makes so much difference.
Of course it does, because a mattress is a very carefully designed object.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so, though, would you?
Well, you would if you had a fucking brain in your nut.
No.
Someone took his brain out of his worry hole? Oh, God. He sawed a mattress in half. So we decided to sleep tops and tails. It just gets stranger.
So strange. Why?
He did it to make the room nicer with the cupboards on either side.
So he sawed a mattress in half.
Well, not in half.
Can you imagine how much hard it must be to saw a mattress in half? What did he use? What, a big electric saw?
Well, it must have been, yeah, because there's a lot of springs and stuff in there.
Jesus.
So what happens to the springs? They just spring out the side?
Well, some sort of stick out a little bit, but you're not lying on top, are you? They come out the side. So it's just got a bit of gaffer tape and a staple gun.
Unbelievable.
Oh, hey, man alive. It's like...
Does he run it as a hotel? That's unbelievable.
There are squats with better bedding arrangements.
Well, we've had a bit of a bad thing in our house about mattresses and that, because when we first bought our first flat in Salford, you know what it's like when you buy somewhere, you sort of, you haven't got any money, have you, to buy extra stuff that you need. So, we bought a bed, right, but there's that rip-off thing with beds, where you buy a bed, but a mattress doesn't come with it, which I've never understood that. Because it's not a bed, is it? Without that mattress, it's not a bed. It's a car without an engine. You wouldn't go, there you go. Well, that seems cheap. Well, there's no engine in it. So we bought this, like, you know, flat and what have you. And we bought the bed. And then, like, oh, we haven't got a mattress. So my dad got one from Uncle Alf. No, well, from that Uncle Alf fella, because he had one in his van that he used to use now and again if he was, like, travelling round. He'd just keep in the back on this mattress.
Amazing.
A bloke who drove around in a van with a mattress in the back.
So Uncle Alf, right? Well, tell me about Uncle Alf.
Well, you know about him, he's the one who slept in a dinghy.
Because his mattress was in his car.
I know, yeah, why didn't he go, oh, well, Alf, where's the bed? Left it in the car again. Oh, blow up the dinghy. Blow up the dinghy. I'm not going to go out and get it. Not at this time of night.
So anyway, my dad got me his mattress, and it just stunk of diesel. And Suzanne was like, oh, I'm not happy with this. And I think she realised sort of what sort of family
she's got herself into.
Stuff. Wow, she landed on her feet when she got you.
So now she's always a bit touchy about, you know, mattresses and things.
Unbelievable.
Uncle Alf, of course, sadly passed away when he couldn't escape from his sinking ship.
The fire engines were too late. No one got out of the way because they were laughing so much.
The mad woman next door saw me and said, hello, Clive. You live in a nursery rhyme. The old man down the road, the old woman next door whose mum's a witch, Uncle Alf who lives in a dinghy.
This is like not a real place. It's like fucking Narnia.
It's a children's TV programme.
Unbelievable. Oh, God. Oh, just all of them there on this broken mattress trying to find the golden ticket. Oh, God. Oh, God.
The old fella down the road talked to my dad a bit. He kept bees in the back garden.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Here comes the bee man.
His Yorkie dog was knocking about when he was messing with them, and it ended up getting stung 150 times.
Oh, little bastard! What is he doing?
It's not dead, but it cost a lot to get all the stings out. I don't know why people keep dangerous pets and insects. The amount of gear he had to wear to play with them is barmy. I don't think he's playing with the bees.
He's not playing with them, is he?
Well, what is he doing then?
Well, I don't know, but I think you should get the dog the same protection.
Yeah, but that's just it, isn't it? It's like, you can't mix your pets. If you've got a snake, you don't have a mouse. Do you know what I mean? They don't get on. And it's the same with them. Don't have bees. I can't imagine one bit of enjoyment. The only thing he does is the honey. And it's like, well, how much is that to buy? It's not worth messing about wearing a big white suit just to get some honey. There's a shop down the road.
Because your dad was a cabbie, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, yeah. Couldn't stand it, but it's good money.
He was he wasn't like a chancer, though.
What was he doing when he put that little Forrest Gump in a weedy bin?
That was part of the cab company thing. They had to do like a charity event once a year, and he did it one year. Never asked him again.
Tell the story again.
No, I'd rather not, because we got a few sort of complaints about it.
Why? Why did you get complaints about it?
Because he put a kid in a bin, and it's not the thing to do. So.
But we could use it as a sort of sobering lesson for people.
Yeah, tell it like a, you know, you shouldn't do it.
No, yeah, but that's how I did it last time, but people still didn't like it. All the stuff I tell you, we don't take the mickey out of people on purpose.
No.
It's real life, innit? And that goes on in life.
Yeah.
My dad was saying that in hospital, though. Do you know I was in hospital?
Yeah.
You know, he did some jokes about old people and that. And he said, at the end of the day, if something makes you laugh, it's funny. And if it makes you laugh, you can't help laughing, can you? Do you know what I mean? So, what are you meant to do? And laughing's good for you.
Yeah.
So,
but being laughed at isn't as good for you, is it?
No, but there's probably more people laughing at one person, so if you balance it out, there's only one person who's upset and there's a bunch of people laughing. So, it's
Jesus! Give me an example of that, give me an example.
Well, for instance, Karl Pilkington as he talks and the people listening.
Yeah, no, give me an example of, like, so, you know.
I can't, because again, that's what I'm saying, I can't tell you the story, because there might be someone out there who, this person might even be listening and think, I forgot about that and you brought it all back to me then.
Yeah.
So I prefer to leave it, but I think people know.
Why did he put him in the bin in the first place?
Because he was getting out of hand.
What was he doing though?
You see, I can't explain.
You can. Don't be silly.
I prefer to leave it, honestly.
What was he doing? Was he annoying him?
He was annoying my dad and the other people in the cab.
Right.
And he thought, how can I deal with this before it gets too out of hand?
Yeah.
He pulled over and put the lad in a wheelie bin.
I'm gonna burst.
So we'll leave that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
How old was the kid?
I'm not sure, but I mean, it was a trip to sort of Blackpool, so I'm guessing.
Do you think it was one of the rides?
17.
This is rubbish.
17?
Yeah.
Oh, he's quite an old lad then.
So, a big lad.
Yeah.
But let's.
Did he pick him up?
He picked him up and put him in a wheelie bin.
Every time he says it, I like it.
And then on the way back, he got him back again. He said, right, you won't do that again.
On the way back?
Yeah, he left him there for a bit.
He left him there, what, they went to Blackpool and he left the kid in the wheelie bin?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
What, was the kid in the wheelie bin when he drove back?
Yeah.
Did he not get out?
No, because how do you get out? It's tricky, innit? And he wasn't a normal kid, was he? Let's leave it.
He wasn't a normal kid.
Right then. So,
Is your father in prison?
Oh,
I think he should be.
Can we put a song on?
Yeah, go on then.